Good afternoon. Just check. Screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Voice is audible clearly.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon, all. So let us start. Yesterday we have discussed the syllabus and few basic things related to our subject. So let me start with our name of our subject. Okay. So uh, just check whether screen is visible once again.
Visible.
Hello. Okay. So let us start our subject. So are you with the notebook?
Yes,
The
sir.
notebooks are with.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Give the name. Name of our subject is engineering mechanics. So at the top you can write engineering mechanics. So I have written here shortly engineering mechanics EM. Okay, so let us start the subject. Yesterday we have discussed which subjects are there in the syllabus, who will be the teacher, what will be the scenario of the examination pattern, etc. Okay, so whether online is okay, offline is okay, whether multiple choice question is okay, or descriptive, irrespective of that. So finally, what syllabus is important? Finally, it is what is important syllabus. What you are, what which things you are going to learn. That is important. Okay, finally. So in that, so for our subject, basically there are two sections. Okay, section one and section two. Each section contains four chapters. So are you able to read names of four chapters in section one and section two?
Yes, sir.
Is it possible for you to read? Okay, which chapters are there in the first section? Can anybody read these four? These four chapters and these four. Who will take opportunity to read this? Ajay Chavan, something. Roll number you have not given. Ajay.
Yes, sir.
Ajay. Read the names.
Section first.
Hmm.
First, resultant of coplanar forces. Second,
Hmm.
equilibrium of rigid bodies. Third, analysis
Ah,
of pin jointed plane frames. Fourth,
okay, I will read.
center
I
of
think you are
gravity
having
and
poor
momentum. Yes, sir.
center of gravity and moment of inertia. In second section, it is kinematics of particle, kinetics of particle, work energy method, and mechanical vibration. Okay, so this is the syllabus. Okay, so just we have to know which things we are going to learn in our subject. So those who have joined late, for them, our name of our subject once again I will tell engineering mechanics. Okay, E for engineering, M for mechanics. In this there are two sections. Means total this subject is divided into two parts. Number one and number two. Section number one, section number 2. In section number 1, there are 4 chapters called as Resultant of Coplanar Forces, okay, Equilibrium of Rigid Bodies, then Analysis of Pin Joint Plane Frames, Analysis of Pin Joint Plane Frames, Center of Gravity and Moment of Inertia. Okay, so this is first section. So a few things we will discuss. So have you what do you know about force? Force बद्दल कोण काय बोलू शकेल का? 1 or 2 sentences. Can it is possible for you to tell something about force? To whom we should call it as a force? Engineering mechanics. This subject will not be there without force. If force is not there in practical or in practice, this subject is not there. Keep in mind. There is a force. That's why this subject is there. That else we have to remember. Can somebody tell what do you know about force? Force बद्दल एक दोन वाक्य कोण बोलू शकेल का? Someone from our class? Anybody? Okay. So whenever my voice is getting break, you have to tell immediately. So voice is not coming, etc. So first chapter, just introduction I will give. Just introduction. So resultant of coplanar forces. In that, first is simple chapter where simple calculations are there. We are supposed to calculate some forces. Okay. So number of forces will be given. So as I told yesterday, so scientific calculator is required for this subject. Scientific calculator is required. Also, you should have a good base of mathematics to calculate some angles, maybe sometimes some distances you are necessary to find. Also, some trigonometric formulas you have to apply. Okay, that is necessary. So your basics should be very perfect. So sometimes it is required to find some angles. Sometimes it is required to find some distances. Okay, from given certain data. So it is there in first chapter. So it is very simple chapter that way. Okay. Second one is equilibrium of rigid bodies. So as this subject related to, I will say this subject is related to something like physics. It is something like physics. So have you heard these word rigid bodies?
Yes, sir.
Have you heard?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what? Okay, very good. What do you know about this rigid body?
The body which can't change its shape, size.
Okay. Body may not be, no. Why body should change? But this is a partial answer, whichever has given. Okay, but perfect. 100% it is not correct. Body will not change its size and shape. But when?
When force is
When body
applied,
will. Very good. When force is applied, that is important. Unless once we are going to apply force, once we are going to apply force on the body will not change its size and shape. Is there any some practical example of such body?
Rod.
Rod means at all you are going to apply force on the rod, it will not break, it will not bend, it will not get strengthened, lengthen, something. Do you feel something like this? Whichever definition you have told it is correct. Whichever definition you have told it is correct. The body will not go under deformation. In other words, I will say a body will not go under deformation when a force is applied on the body, rigid body. Whether such body is available in our, we can say, in universe or in our day to day life. बॉडी असते का की ज्याला फोर्स लावल्यावर काहीच बदल होत नाही, नथिंग विल हॅपन. Whether such body is available or is it in existence? First, whether such body is in existence. अशी बॉडी असते का की एखाद्या बॉडीला फोर्स लावला तरी डिफॉर्मेशन होत नाही, as simple as this. Reply fast. Is it there? What do you feel? अशी असू शकते का?
परफेक्ट नाही
think
सर,
no.
पण जवळपास असतंय. येस सर.
Yes, sir.
असते असते. So actually, if at all we are going to apply heavy load on the body, so certain part, or we can say less or other, anyhow it is going to deform. Actually, this rigid body is, we can say, a perfect. We cannot say exactly it is a perfect, but it is ideal body. याला आपण आयडियल म्हणूया. ओके, इट इज समथिंग आयडियल बॉडी. असं होतच नाही की फोर्स किती लावला आणि बॉडीला काहीच होत नाही. A particular body is not going under deformation at all. It will not happen at all. That's why it is called as rigid bodies are called as ideal body. Ideal असतात. That's we will see in second chapter. Equilibrium. In other words, parallel word of equilibrium, I will tell it as a balance. Okay. So what do you know about balancing or equilibrium? Balancing or equilibrium. What does it mean by? Suppose there is one body, just we're observing, suppose body A. Okay, having certain weight. So weight is not important. There is one body called as, suppose its name is A, and force, we can say, suppose 5 kilonewton is applied from one side. Okay, and 10 Newton is applied from this left hand side. 10 kilonewton force is applied from left hand side, and 5 kilonewton force is applied from right hand side. So this will be right hand side and this will be left hand side. Now your prediction. The case is in front of you. What will happen as far as displacement is concerned? Where body will displace? Towards right or towards left?
Left to right.
Towards right.
Left to right means body will slide towards
Left.
right hand side.
Right.
Right.
Okay, how you are predicting this, or what? How you are predicting this? कशावरून ठरवलं हे? This body is going to be
Amount of force.
Amount of force. Very good. Amount of force applied towards right hand side. I will say towards right hand side is more. That's why body will slide or displace towards right hand side. Now second case. Let us consider second case. Instead of this 10 kilonewton force, once again, I will apply 5 only. 5 kilonewton force only. What will happen?
Equilibrium.
Body does not displace.
Displaced.
Why it is so? Why body will not displace?
Same force.
Because two side forces
Because both
same.
forces are same.
Both forces are same, and what will happen? They will balance each other. It is called balancing. That's why the condition of body is called as equilibrium. Condition of body is called as equilibrium. That is a total second chapter is there on this. So actually, can we say body is at stationary? Body A is at stationary असं म्हणूया का आपण? Can we say something like this? Stationary, you are knowing this word in your physics. Body A is at stationary. Can we say like this? Yes or no? Can we say like this? Body A is at
Yes, sir.
stationary.
Yes.
Okay. So
Yes, sir.
here we will go in little depth. What is the difference between stationary and equilibrium? Is there anybody? Can we define? There are two different phenomena, we can say. One is stationary and one is equilibrium. So what will be the change? So what is equilibrium? I will tell definition. Irrespective of having n number of forces acting on body. Body is at stationary. काय म्हटलं मी मराठीत सांगतो बघा अजून एकदा. इक्विलिब्रियम म्हणजे काय? नंबर ऑफ फोर्सेस बॉडीवरती ऍक्ट होतात पण बॉडी ही स्टेशनरीच राहते. दॅट कंडिशन इज कॉल्ड एज equilibrium. And what is stationary? Irrespective, force is not applied on the body, so there is no question. Body will remain its at own position. It is called stationary body. फरक वाटतोय का काय स्टेशनरी आणि इक्विलिब्रियम मध्ये? Slowly we will go. Do you feel there is a difference between stationary and equilibrium? What do you feel? का दोन्ही सारखंच आहे इक्विलिब्रियम आणि स्टेशनरी? Reply देत चला. Yesterday I have
No,
told
sir.
you should unmute yourself. What do you feel? Whether equilibrium and stationary are both same or different?
Both are same, sir.
Both are same? Both are same? Sure? Both are same? Omkar, Gule? Both are same?
No, sir.
No. मग काय फरक आहे दोन्ही सांगा बरं. इक्विलिब्रियम आणि स्टेशनरी.
इक्विलिब्रियम मध्ये फोर्स अप्लाय करून सुद्धा ते स्टेशनरी राहतात आणि बॅलन्स म्हणजे
हा.
त्यात फोर्स नाही पण तरी पण स्टेबल राहतात.
स्टेशनरी म्हणजे फोर्सच नसतो, म्हणजे त्याच्यामुळे बॉडी इकडून तिकडे जाण्याची देर इज नो क्वेश्चन टू बॉडी शुड मूव्ह फ्रॉम वन प्लेस टू अदर प्लेस. आणि इक्विलिब्रियम मध्ये काय होतं मग? व्हॉट इज हॅपनिंग इन इक्विलिब्रियम?
फोर्स अप्लाय होतो पण
व्हॉट इज
तरी पण स्टेशनरी राहतात इक्विलिब्रियम स्टेट मध्ये.
फोर्स अप्लाय होतो तरी पण ती काय होती? बॉडी स्टेशनरीज राहते. कशामुळे राहते?
दोन्ही पण फोर्स सेम असतात त्यामुळे.
दोन्ही किंवा मेन. इथं मी कंडिशन
हा.
घेताना दोन घेतले.
एन नंबर ऑफ फोर्स.
Resultant
number
force
of forces
0 असतो.
apply होतात. Very good.
हा,
Exactly.
sir.
Resultant force is 0. Means it is balancing. It is balancing. That's why that body remains at its own position. It is called stationary. अलग लक्षात फरक. That we will see. Just I have given introduction. Just we are saying introduction. It is there in second chapter. Is totally equilibrium of rigid body. At that time we will see in detail what is that. Okay. So just introductory part we are seeing which things we are going to learn in upcoming syllabus. Whatever syllabus is there in, okay, that we are going to see. Now, this is, have you understood what is equilibrium? Forget about stationary body.
Yes,
If
sir.
question,
Yes,
if
sir.
question will come in your, if a question will come in your mind, what is equilibrium? Now you should be able to tell. Equilibrium is what? Number of forces are acting on the body. Still body is at stationary. Why? Because all the forces are balancing each other. मराठीत सांगतो परत एकदा. इक्विलिब्रियम कंडिशन बॉडीची म्हणजे काय? नंबर ऑफ फोर्सेस ऍक्ट होतात बॉडीवर, ते पण बॉडी एकाच जागी थांबते. का? कारण सगळे फोर्सेस हे बॅलन्सिंग होतात एकमेकांना. दॅट्स वाय irrespective of having n number of forces acting on body will remain at its own position for stationary condition. It is called as equilibrium. Total chapter is there, our second chapter. At that time in detail we will see this equilibrium of rigid body. Okay, third one. So what is your practice? With the lecture you should note down the things. So this our engineering mechanics, after that section 1 in that way, or you have to take screenshot, or when after that you can write. Choice is yours. So I am going to check notebooks afterwards. In meanwhile I'm going to take random name. I'm going to ask start a video and show the notebook likewise. Okay. Now let us go. Analysis of pin joint plane frames. Analysis of pin joint plane frames. Okay. So frame. So have you heard the word fabrication? We are just discussing what is there in our syllabus. Fabrication. हा शब्द ऐकलाय का तुम्ही? फॅब्रिकेशन.
Yes, sir.
व्हेरी इंटरेस्टिंग. काय असते फॅब्रिकेशन? व्हॉट डू यू फील? व्हॉट डज इट मीन बाय फॅब्रिकेशन? Analysis of pin joint plane frame. Fabrication, you might have heard this word. So what does it mean by fabrication? फक्त ऐकलायचं का शब्द? Do you might be not knowing the meaning of this. मीनिंग माहित नाही का तुम्हाला काय आहे मग एक्झॅक्टली?
हो सर.
CION. काय असते फॅब्रिकेशन म्हणजे काय? So if it is well and good, if not okay. काय असते फॅब्रिकेशन मीन्स? Fabrication means joining each other. You remember this. Fabrication, what does it mean? By joining the parts to each other. Fabrication means joining the part to each other. It does mean by fabrication. Okay, it is mean by fabrication. Okay. Now in third chapter, what we are going to learn? Analysis. Have you heard this word analysis? Am I audible? Okay. Try to give response. Have you heard this word analysis?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, what is the meaning of analysis?
Separation.
If not, okay, say yeah, no sir, directly plain answer, no sir, we don't know the meaning of analysis, just we have heard the word analysis, no issue. But you should be responsive, huh? You should give response so that I feel you are attentive.
डिटेल मध्ये
Okay,
एक्सप्लेन
fabrication
केलेलं
means okay, just we are no issue then. Fabrication means what I have told right now. मी आता काय सांगितलं, fabrication म्हणजे काय?
joining the parts to each other.
Joining the parts to each other. It is as simple as this. Analysis means that we will see. Okay, तर आता मी एक practical example सांगतो तुम्हाला. So electrical tower पाहिले असतील तुम्ही, something like this. Electrical tower, असे मोठमोठे electrical tower असतात असे, something like this. Okay. आणि त्याचे जे स्ट्रक्चर असतंय ते असे जोडलेले असतात बघा, समथिंग लाईक दिस. हे असं स्ट्रक्चर, हा असं स्ट्रक्चर असतंय ना, असे समथिंग लाईक दिस. इलेक्ट्रिक टॉवर आता मी एकच काढतोय इथं, समथिंग लाईक दिस. परत इकडून हे असे असे समथिंग लाईक दिस. टॉवर बघितलेत का? फायनली अशी वरती असे असते आणि वरून तार एक जाते. देर इज वन वायर. Certain electrical tower, not day to day life, a certain electrical tower which is having structure. मी दोनच ह्याचं काढतो की त्याच्यामध्ये असं स्ट्रक्चर असते, समथिंग लाईक दिस. इकडून हे असं, परत हे असं, समथिंग लाईक दिस. हे असं स्ट्रक्चर पाहिलं इलेक्ट्रिकल टॉवरचं. हा एक पार्ट झाला त्यात. असे चार बाजूनी चार असतात, समथिंग लाईक दिस. ऑल दिस टॉवर्स आर देअर. हॅव यू सीन दिस स्ट्रक्चर? इलेक्ट्रिकल टॉवर हे पाहिलेत का? Because these
Yes,
parts are joined
Yes,
to each
sir.
other.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
These parts are joined to each other. याचं काय फंक्शन, असं काय केलं असावं असं तुम्हाला वाटतंय? Why it is so? एकच टॉवर का उभा केला नसेल असा मोठा? It is possible, no? Only one we can go for, only one. Here it is base, and that whatever wire is there, it will go something like this. What it is necessary to go through this? म्हणजे असं करायची काय गरज आहे?
सर ती मजबूत होण्यासाठी एका ह्याच्यावर जास्त लोड येऊ नये म्हणून.
Very good. It is not design. तर ते कशासाठी, ते डिझाईन चांगलं व्हावं म्हणून असं केलेलं नसतं. वन स्लाइडिंग वे. सो व्हॉट इज द रिझन? टू डिस्ट्रीब्यूट द फोर्स. देण्यात ठेवा, म्हणजे जो काय फोर्स येणार आहे वरून खाली, सो फ्रॉम टॉप द बॉटम, व्हॉट एव्हर फोर्स इज गोइंग टू कम फ्रॉम टॉप द बॉटम, इट इज नेसेसरी टू डिस्ट्रीब्यूट दॅट फोर्स. डिस्ट्रीब्यूट झाला पाहिजे. अदरवाइज व्हॉट विल हॅपन? दिस पर्टिक्युलर पोल मे गेट ब्रेक. पोल काय होईल? ब्रेक होऊन जाईल एकटाच. Because there is one single member or element. That's why number of elements are joined together in this fashion, so that whatever force is there, it will get distributed. Okay, and structure will become strong in that way. A simple example, like this is one example. Even you can say a roof structure. Okay, in fabrication, if it is heavy, there is a structure something like this. You can find this structure also for roof. त्याचं मोठं शेड असेल, मोठं म्हणतोय मी, इट शुड बी व्हेरी लार्ज. इन दॅट केस, इफ ऍट ऑल लोड ऑफ दॅट रूप इज मोर, इन दॅट केस दॅट स्ट्रक्चर इज कॉल्ड एज फ्रेम स्ट्रक्चर. ते फ्रेम बनवल्या जातात अशा. काय फंक्शन आहे फ्रेमचं? टू डिस्ट्रीब्यूट द फोर्स. फ्रेमचं फंक्शन काय? डिस्ट्रीब्यूट द फोर्स. ते डिझाईन म्हणून केलेलं नसतं इलेक्ट्रिकल पोलला, ते डिझाईन नाही. ते का असं केलेलं आहे? टू डिस्ट्रीब्यूट द फोर्स विच एव्हर कमिंग फ्रॉम टॉप द बॉटम, so that that structure will become, we can say that structure will become strong in that way. And analysis means what? Analysis means finding the force. Analysis. So here you can remember the meaning of analysis means finding the force. Means in this chapter number 3, we are going to learn this truss or frames. आपण अशा फ्रेम शिकणार आहोत आणि त्याच्यामधला फोर्स काढणार आहोत. वी आर गोइंग टू कॅल्क्युलेट फोर्स इन इच मेंबर. That is called as analysis. Okay, so this is there in our third chapter. So first we have seen second, and this one is third. Okay, fourth one. So whatever these first 3 chapters are there, these are related to each other. 3 chapter एकमेकांशी related आहेत. First one is little easy, after that little difficult, and third one we can say little difficult as compared to first 2. This fourth chapter is totally different than first three. चौथा जो chapter आहे तो totally different आहे. Only formulas we have to apply to find out center of gravity and moment of inertia. These terms also you might have heard in your physics. Center of gravity, CG and MI. Have you heard these terms? CG and MI.
Yes, sir.
So what is CG? Center of gravity. What is center of gravity? कशाला म्हणायचं center of gravity? Anybody? फक्त नावच
बॉडीचं
ऐकलं तुम्हाला
कम्प्लीट
डिटेल
मास
मध्ये
कॉन्सन्ट्रेटेड असलेलं जागा.
very good. In detail, will you tell a little refined definition? Correct. Whatever you have told, it is correct, but a little refined. Refined म्हणजे थोडस वाक्य रचना व्यवस्थित करून सांगता येईल. What does it?
Point where the mass of a body
the
is
point.
concentrated.
Okay, very good. It is the point where mass of the body is concentrated. It is called as center of gravity and moment of inertia. Okay. So first three chapters, so we will see it is totally different chapter as compared to first three. Fourth one is totally different. So one more thing I will tell here. So what is the basic difference between first section and second section? First section and second section. This particular first section, it is famously known as, or it is called as statics. Okay, it is called as statics, and second section is totally known as dynamics. Okay, it is called as dynamics. Have you heard this word? If not, we will study in detail. Static means what? So as I told earlier, unless and until force is not there, our subject is not there. So that is first thing. As there is a subject, that's why our subject is there. Number one. Number two. So in statics, what does it mean by statics? Here we are going to study forces. Here we are going to study forces, and means whatever body is there, that structure we are going to study. Statics, here we are going to consider motion of body. Here we are going to consider motion of body along with force. आपण force consider करणार आहोत in all the cases. Okay, in all cases we are going to consider force. Statics म्हणजे काय? Force consider केला जातो. Force. In dynamics we are not going to consider force. आपण force consider करणार नाही. So irrespective of though the body is in motion, means here suppose there is something like this. Suppose stone is thrown in air. इकडून अशी काय केली दगड टाकला वरती, and at what time it will reach to the ground, something like this. असे प्रॉब्लेम आहेत आपल्याला डायनॅमिक्स मध्ये. तो किती वेळामध्ये ग्राउंडला येईल. सो इरिस्पेक्टिव्ह ऑफ तिथं आपण फोर्सचा विचारच करणार नाही की किती फोर्सने दगड वर टाकलेला आहे, समथिंग लाईक दिस. और सम क्वेश्चन्स मे बी देयर. From the building, certain object is kept towards earth. So at what time it will reach to earth? So something like this. तर आपण डायनॅमिक्स मध्ये काय करणार आहोत? फोर्स कन्सिडर करणार आहोत. द फोर्स विच विल कॉज motion to the body we are not going to consider, but in statics we are going to consider force. So these are also we will see as further syllabus. Okay, so basically just as a part of syllabus, 4 chapters are there in first section, 4 chapters are there in second section. Okay, so first section is known as what? पहिल्या सेक्शनला आपण first section काय म्हणणार आहोत? What we are going to call as the first section?
Statics.
Statics. आणि स्टॅटिक्स म्हणजे काय? व्हॉट डज इट मीन बाय स्टॅटिक्स? काय कन्सिडर करणार आहोत?
फोर्स.
And what second section is famously known as? What second section famously known as?
Dynamics.
Dynamics.
Dynamics. So meanwhile, so just you note down this, the section 1, section 2, which chapters are there in syllabus. So this one. So just you can remember this. Okay, so shall we will go next. Further. Now coming back to now give next title, mechanics. What does it mean by mechanics? Next one. So now theoretical some part is there. After that problem will start. Okay, before that, what does it mean by mechanics? What is mechanics? Are you able to see screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now mechanics. Mechanics. So mechanics is the branch of physical science or physics. It is a branch of physical science. That's why I have asked in first only. So have you heard this word? So as you have told, you have heard this word in physics. It does it mean by mechanics is the branch of physical science or physics which deals with the study of forces and their effects acting on the body, which is at the rest or in motion. Means body will be in motion or it may be at the rest. So what is mechanics? Mechanics is the branch of physical science or physics which deals with the कशाचा अभ्यास करणार आहे आपण मेकॅनिक्स मध्ये? Which deals with the study of what?
Force and their
Forces and their
And their effect.
Forces and their effect. Here we are going to study forces and their effect acting on body. And how will be body? Is it in motion or is it at rest?
Rest.
Rest or motion.
Yes.
Rest or motion. जर बॉडी रेस्ट मध्ये असेल तर त्याला कसला म्हणायचं? Which type of mechanics? If body is in rest. Statics. If body is at rest, we are going to call it as a statics. And if it is in motion, we are going to call it as dynamics. You remember this also. If body is in rest, we are going to call it as statics, and if it is in motion, we are going to call it dynamics. That we will see. And if it is at rest, we are going to call it statics. That also we will see. Statics and dynamics. Okay. So first, so please write the definition in your notebook. Mechanics. What does it mean by mechanics? It is the branch of physical science or physics which deals with the study of forces and their effect acting on body which is at rest or in motion. Okay, so as I told, if there is no force, there is no mechanics. It is as simple as this. If there is no force, there is no mechanics. It is as simple as this. So unless and until force is not considered, the subject is not considered, something like this. So mechanics is the branch of physical science or physics which deals with the study of forces and their effect acting on body which is at the rest or in motion. Further, have you written? Have you written the definition?
Yes, sir.
Further, engineering mechanics deals with the study of different laws and principles.
सर आवाज येत नाही. सरच गेलेत.
Engineering mechanics deals with the study of different laws and principles of mechanics applied to solve the engineering problem. So where it is used to solve the engineering problem? It is used where it is used? It is used to where? To solve the engineering problem. Now, then basically there are two branches of the mechanics. Basically, there are two branches of mechanics, which are they? Number one is statics. Number one is statics. It is a branch of engineering mechanics, which deals with the study of forces and their effect. Study of forces and their effect acting on the body, which is at the rest. Which is at the rest, most important. Okay. Here it is, as it is a branch of mechanics, here also we are going to consider forces and its effect on the body. But how should be the body? In statics, what is the condition? Body should be is at the rest or it should be in motion? In statics,
Body
Rest.
rest.
that body should be at rest. Then we can call it as a statics. If that body is in motion, then we are going to call it as a
Dynamics.
Dynamics.
then we are going to call it as a dynamic. So here what I told in earlier, so this particular section is called as statics. Okay, this particular section is called as statics, and here we are going to call it dynamics. You remember this. Okay, it is basic that we will see how it is. So body is at rest and in motion. Okay, so whatever bodies we are going to consider, it will be at rest, and here in motion. Here that body will be in motion. Here the body will be in motion, something like this, just for our information. First section, statics, body will be at rest, means anyhow in both cases we are going to consider the forces and its effect. Okay, but in statics body will be at rest, and in dynamics body will be at in motion. Okay, have you written definition of statics? Slowly we are entering into our syllabus, slow by slow. So have you written definition of statics?
Yes, sir.
Next,
Yes.
dynamics. Now dynamics, as we have discussed again, dynamics is the branch of engineering. Dynamics is the branch of engineering mechanics, which deals with the study of forces, and their effect acting on body, which is in, what is the last sentence? Which is in motion.
Motion.
That body is in motion. Body is in motion. You remember this word. Very important. So at this stage, what is static and what is dynamic? And before that, what is mechanics? That we should know. We have seen what is mechanics, and it's two main branches of mechanics. One is statics, another one is dynamics. It is what is dynamics? It is the branch of engineering mechanics which deals with the study of forces and their effect acting on body which is in motion. That body is in motion. Okay. Further, dynamics is classified into two types or two categories. This dynamic is classified into two types or two categories. Which are they? Dynamics is classified into two types or two categories. Which are they? Kinetics and kinematics. Okay, kinetics and kinematics. Further, two types of dynamics. So you have to remember. Kinetics is what? It is a branch of dynamics. As I told, kinetics is a branch of dynamics which deals with the study of forces and their effect acting on body which is in motion. It is by default, it is in motion. Why? Because it is branch of dynamics. On a body which is in motion by considering the mass of the body and forces which cause the motion. Forces which cause the motion means here what we are going to study in kinetics. It is the branch of dynamics which deals with the study of forces and their effects acting on body in motion by considering, most important word, by considering mass of the body and the forces which cause the motion. Okay, so if you read the further definition, kinematics, it is the branch of dynamics. It is the branch of dynamics which deals with study of forces, and their effect acting on body which is in motion without considering the mass of the body and forces which cause the motion. So for multiple choice question, it is very important. In which case mass of the body and the forces are considered, and in which case mass of the body and forces which cause the motion not considered. Have you read carefully? Lakshat आलं?
Yes, sir.
In which case we are considering mass of the body and the forces which cause the motion. आपण कुठल्या केस मध्ये mass
Kinetics.
body
Kinetics.
Kinetic.
in kinetics we are considering, and in which case we are not considering the mass of the body and the forces. Kinematics. So slowly we are entering into our syllabus, kinetics and kinematics. Okay, so just one step behind. If we will go one step behind, what is mechanics? So basic. What is mechanics? As it is the first lecture. What is mechanics? It is the branch of what?
Physics or physical science.
Okay, it is the branch of physics or physical science which deals with कशाचा अभ्यास करणार आहोत आपण मेकॅनिक्स मध्ये?
Study of
Force
forces and their
force
effect
of
on the
their
body
effect
which is
acting
at
on the
rest or in motion.
Study of forces
And
their
effects.
and their effects
very good. Study of forces and their effects on body which may be in
Rest or in motion.
maybe is at rest or it may be in motion. That we are going to call it as mechanics. Okay, or engineering mechanics. Further, mechanics is divided into mainly two parts. Which two parts or which two branches?
Static or
One is
and dynamics.
dynamic.
not or. We cannot call or and statics and dynamics. Statics and dynamics. What do you understand or what do you understand by statics? Statics म्हणजे काय म्हणायचं?
Body is at rest.
Body is at
Rest.
rest. Body is at rest. That's why we are calling it as statics. And what is mean by dynamics?
Body
Body is in other motion.
Body is in
motion.
body is in motion. Now dynamics is further divided into which two category or how many categories?
Kinetics and
Kinematics.
Further, dynamics is classified into two categories. One is kinetics, another one is kinematics. What is kinetics? Now kinetics is the branch of dynamics.
Dynamic
Okay,
force.
it is the branch of dynamics which deals with the study of forces and their effects on a body in motion.
Motion by considering of mass.
of body, force which cause the motion.
Kinematics, what we are going to consider in kinematics? It is the branch of dynamics which deals with the study of forces and their effect acting on a body which is in motion. But what we are not going to consider in kinematics? आपण काय
Without
consider-
considering mass.
without considering mass and the
force which causes motion.
Forces
which cause the motion. Which cause the motion. Now let us see a random test. I will ask randomly to Jagdale Mahesh. Will you unmute yourself, Jagdale?
Yes, sir.
Jagdale.
Yes, sir.
हा सांगा बरं मेकॅनिक्स म्हणजे काय सांगा बरं बघू. What do you know about mechanics or what is the definition of mechanics?
It is a branch of physics with study of force and effect acting on body which in rest or motion.
Very good. We are going to study forces and its effects on body which is at rest or in motion. Very good. 100% correct. Okay. Further. Thank you. Afterwards, I will ask Samarth. 18 roll number. Samarth, which are the two branches of mechanics? Samarth Chavan. Which are the two branches of mechanics? Dheeraj. Yep. 16. Dheeraj. Dheeraj Sawan. Roll number 45, Pawar. Which are the two branches of mechanics? Simple question. Static and your voice is not coming. Static and what does mean by static? Okay, very good. Static and dynamic. What is mean by static? What do you know or what do you understand by static? Or what is the definition of static? Simple.
In static body is in rest.
Body is at rest. And what is dynamics? Ajinkya. Ajinkya.
Sir, in dynamics, body in at motion.
Body is in motion. Body is in motion in dynamics. Very good. Rule number 25. Mansi. Which are the two branches of dynamics? Which are the two branches of dynamics?
Kinetics and kinematics.
Very good. Kinetics and kinematics. What do you know about kinetics? Kinetics means what? Kinetics. Avinash Kapre, 35. 35 roll number.
The study of forces and their effect act on body in motion by considering mass and force.
Very good. Study of forces which is in already in motion. So here we are going to consider mass and
Forces.
force. Very good. Very good. Next one, Rohan Shirsagar. Kinematics.
Yes.
What is kinematics? Kinematics.
Study
Slide is
of
in front of you.
study of force and their effect acting on the body, which is in motion, without considering mass and body of their forces.
Okay, body and mass of their forces. Very good. So up to this, any problem? So just randomly I have asked, are you with attentive or just you have logged in? That's why I have asked for random students. So whatever it is there, okay. So any problem up to this? Very slowly we are entering. Any problem up to this? Somebody want to ask something?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
Okay, further on. Next. So that basic. What is engineering mechanics? So this is most important thing. This is most important thing. We should know what is mechanics. So again, I am telling, if there is no force, there is no mechanics. जर force नसेल तर आपला विषयच येणार नाही. We are not there. So mechanics, unless and until there is no force, there is no mechanics. It is as simple as this. But in some cases, in statics, body is at rest. In dynamics, body is in motion. Further, okay, in kinetics and kinematics, what it is happening in kinetics, we are going to consider mass and force, and in kinematics we are not going to consider mass and force. Okay, next. So title, shall we take break for 5 minutes or shall we continue? Choice is yours. If you say continue, we will continue. If you want to take break for 5 minutes, we will take break for 5 minutes.
Break.
What to do? Break off.
No, sir, continue.
Continue, sir.
Continue, sir.
Because okay, majority is continuing, so we will continue. Okay, no issue. So now give title. Unit number 1, resultant of coplanar forces. Resultant of coplanar forces. Unit number 1, resultant of coplanar forces. So in that syllabus, let us see what it is there in the syllabus. Unit number 1, resultant of coplanar forces. So till now, just we have seen what is mechanics, what are its two main branches, and after that, sub branches of dynamics. In that way, simple things we have discussed. Before that, we have discussed what is there in the syllabus. Okay, next one is resultant of coplanar forces. Okay. So in your screen on your mobile, you can zoom it. If some letters are so much small, in that case, you can little zoom. So to have it here, who will read the syllabus? So let us see your roll number 21, Dattatri. Will you read the syllabus which is there on in front of you? So which things we are going to learn in chapter number 1, resultant of coplanar forces. Will you read the syllabus which is in front of you?
Yes, sir.
Roll number 21. Loudly so that all will listen carefully.
Basic unit, unit 1, resultant of coplanar forces. 1.1, basic units, SI units, body, rigid body, particles, scalar quantities, vector quantities, idealization of engineering, problems, force, law of transmissibility of force, moment of a force, couple, moment of a couple, resultant, parallelogram, law of force, triangle law of force, polygon law of force,
Varignon's theorem.
theorem.
Varignon's theorem.
1.2, composition of coplanar concurrent and non-concurrent forces. Analytical method, graphical method, Bose notation.
Bose notation. Very good. So whatever it is there in front of, thank you very much. So you have helped me to read the syllabus. So whatever syllabus it is there in front of you for the chapter number 1. So it is a basic chapter from the mechanics, most basic chapter, first one. So once you are going to learn this chapter, further chapters are very easy. So step by step in first part of this syllabus only I have told. First 3 chapters are correlated to each other. Okay, though the fourth is something different, but chapter number 1, 2, 3, these are related to each other. Chapter number 1, 2, 3. Okay, these are quite related to each other. It is having a relation with each other. Okay. So syllabus is in front of you. Either you can write in your notebook or you can take screenshot. Afterwards you can write. Choice is yours. So I request to write now only. Okay, because afterwards you can study some other subject or some other concepts instead of you wasting the time. Few lines are there only. Okay, just I have zoomed it. That's why it looks like larger. So are you writing the syllabus? Basic units, SI units, body, rigid body, particle, scalar quantities, vector quantities, idealization of engineering problems, force, law of transmissibility of force, moment of force, couple, moment of couple, then resultant, parallelogram law of forces, triangle law of forces, polygon law of forces, Varignon theorem. So this may be new. Composition of coplanar concurrent and non-concurrent forces, analytical method, graphical method, and Bose notation. So I will give 1 minute so you can note down this syllabus in your notebook. Okay, so some of the part it may be it is familiar to you out of this syllabus. For example, is there any part of the syllabus which is familiar to you? याच्यापैकी काय तुम्हाला वाटतं की आपण ऑलरेडी शिकलोय? Some of the part are not all. What do you feel something like this?
SI unit,
SI unit.
rigid body.
Okay, rigid body again.
Scalar.
Very good.
Vector
These terms
quantities.
are also familiar. Okay, this also scalar quantities, vector quantities again. Maybe you have heard the
Force
word
law.
moment.
Moment of
This
couple.
word.
Momentum of force.
Momentum of
Okay.
force.
This you maybe you might have heard this word before this.
Parallelogram law.
So it is a basic. Parallelogram law also it was there. Parallelogram law in your 12th. Whether it was there.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Ha. Triangle and
Very good
parallel.
then. Both were there in your syllabus.
Ha.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Very good. Very good. So some terms are familiar to you, so there is no question. Some terms are very good. It is familiar to you. So I already you have heard these terms. So what is the reason to read the syllabus again and again? So which things we are going to learn in this chapter? That's why. Which things we are going to learn in this chapter? That's why I'm repeating. So either you have to read it because this is most important. Because suppose this term is, I feel it is totally unknown to you. Varignon theorem. Because up till now, I'm sure you have not heard this Varignon theorem. That's why I'm asking you to read again and again so that you will come to know that what we are going to learn in this chapter. Okay, so maybe something like this Bose notation. This Bose notation. Again, this term is also new. I know you have not heard anywhere. That's why this and something like this. It is most important. Okay. This one is syllabus. Okay, so which is in front of you now. Shall we go next after syllabus? Resultant of coplanar forces. So here again with the about the title of chapter means what is the title of chapter? In that it is mentioned resultant of coplanar forces. So forces. Here we will start with the force. What does it mean by force? Force means what? कुणाला म्हणायचं force? In physics, what is the definition of force?
Mass into acceleration, sir.
Mass into acceleration, it is formula. We can say F is equal to ma. Correct, no? You have told correct formula. F is equal to ma. But definition, force. To whom we should call it as a force? You told correct formula. Very good. But what is the definition?
Push or pull
Force.
upon an object resulting for object interaction with another object.
No, repeat it. Push or
Force
pull you told, no?
upon an object
Correct.
resulting for object interaction with another object.
Okay, you want to say force is nothing but push or pull. Okay.
Strength or energy to move object.
What?
Strength or energy to move object.
Energy, before that energy, what you are telling before energy?
Strength.
Train.
Strength or energy to move object.
Okay. Tends to move the object. Okay, very good. Partially, not exactly. Somebody has given answer as a push or pull. Actually, push or pull or push and pull are the types of force we can say. It is not the force. It is type of force. Okay, force means what? It is a external agent we can say which will change the state of body. फोर्स एक अशी गोष्ट आहे की बॉडीची स्टेट चेंज करतो. मीन्स व्हॉट? If body is at rest, that particular force will try to move it. If body is in motion, it will tends to stop it or it will make it into stationary. Something like this. It is very basic. You might have heard this now. First, you can see here. Force. What is force? Force is an external agency which change the state of body. It is as simple as this. Force ही अशी गोष्ट आहे की बॉडीची जी काही स्टेट आहे, स्थिती आहे ती चेंज करतो. मीन्स बॉडी जर मोशन मध्ये असेल तर ती थांबवायची किंवा थांबलेली बॉडी असेल तर ती मोशन मध्ये न्यायची. इट इज ॲज सिम्पल ॲज दिस. Okay, it is nothing. And somebody has given answer as pull or that push. Actually, it is a type. Somebody has given answer as F is equal to ma. Okay, it is a formula. But as if we want to see the definition of force, what is it? Force is nothing but the external agency. External हे असं काहीतरी आहे, अशी काहीतरी गोष्ट आहे की ती काय करते की बॉडीला एकतर मोशन मध्ये तर पाठवते जर बॉडी काय असेल स्टेशनरी असेल तर, or in other hand if body is in motion it will make it into stationary. Either or. मग दोन्हीचं कंबाईन काय केलं की चेंज ऑफ स्टेट ऑफ बॉडी. अशी गोष्ट आहे फोर्स ही अशी गोष्ट आहे की ज्याच्यामुळं काय होतंय, body will change its state or the body will change its state. It may be in rest or it may be in motion. चेंज होतंय. त्याची जी काही स्टेट आहे ती चेंज होते. इट इज ॲज सिम्पल ॲज इट. व्हेरी बेसिक. Coplanar forces means the force or the system of forces whose line of action lies in single plane. आता इथं थोडस डिफिकल्ट जायला, तर त्याच्या अगोदर आपण थोडं बॅकग्राऊंडला पाठीमागे जाऊ थोडं. नाउ बेसिक एंटिटीज इन जॉमेट्री सांगतो बघा थोडं, लिटल बॅक वी विल गो. बेसिक एंटिटीज इन द जॉमेट्री, because here definition of force is given. Now coplanar plane means what? Plane कोणाला म्हणायचं? Have you heard this? Plane. To whom we should call it as a plane? Coplanar. म्हणजे सगळेच जर फोर्सच्या लाईन ऑफ ऍक्शन हा प्लेन मध्ये असतील, so we are calling it as a coplanar forces. Before going to plane, I will take basic entities in geometry. जॉमेट्री सगळ्यांना माहिती, तर बेसिक कुठून चालू होते जॉमेट्री कुठून चालू होते? वन इज I will give here basic entities in the geometry, which are they? So one is point, okay, point, then line, अनेक हा सिंगुलर झिरो डायमेन्शनल एंटिटी म्हणजे पॉइंट. अनेक पॉइंटची मिळून काय बनते? लाईन बनते. अनेक लाईन एकत्र येऊन काय बनते? प्लेन. ओके, आणि अनेक प्लेन एकत्र येऊन काय बनते? हो, कोण सांगते हा सिक्वेन्स? पॉइंट इज अ झिरो डायमेन्शनल एंटिटी. त्याच्यानंतर अनेक पॉइंट असे एकत्र, लोकस म्हणतो आपण त्या, लोकस. अनेक पॉइंट एकत्र आले का लाईन बनते, अनेक लाईन एकत्र आले का प्लेन बनते, आणि अनेक प्लेन एकत्र आलं तर काय बनेल पुढे? आता व्हॉट विल बी देअर आफ्टर दिस?
3-dimensional geometry.
3-dimensional geometry. त्याला काय म्हणतो आपण आपल्या भाषेमध्ये, फिजिक्स मध्ये, मे बी केमिस्ट्री मध्ये काय म्हणतो त्याला? द बॉडी विच ऑक्युपाइज द व्हॉल्यूम. व्हॉट वी आर कॉलिंग इट एज? एखादी गोष्ट जर व्हॉल्यूम ऑक्युपाय करत असेल, इफ इट विल ऑक्युपाय द व्हॉल्यूम, what we are calling it as? Mass. Correct technical word. What we are calling? Solid. Can we call it as a solid?
Yes, sir.
Solid शब्द. Can we call it as a solid? We can call it as a solid. Okay. आता point बघा, point. My simple question. Now you listen it carefully. Can we give dimension to point? आपण पॉइंटला डायमेन्शन देऊ शकतो का? माय सिंपल क्वेश्चन. कॅन वी गिव्ह डायमेन्शन टू?
No.
Zero dimension.
No, sir.
Very good. No. That's why it is called as zero dimensional entity. पॉइंटला आपण डायमेन्शनच देऊ शकत नाही. That's why it is called as zero dimensional entity. मग काय देऊ शकतो? सपोज देर इज कार्टेशियन सिस्टीम. हा एक्स आणि वाय ऍक्सिस आहे आणि इथं पॉइंट आहे. तुम्हाला वाटेल की हे काय असतं? मग हे समजा इथं पॉइंट आहे, पॉइंट पी, आणि मी इथं लिहिलं काहीतरी 3, 4. मग हे 3 आणि 4 काय आहेत? हे
Coordinates.
these are coordinates. These are not dimension. What coordinates are indicating? These are indicating the position of point in Cartesian system or coordinate system. तर हे काय त्याचे डायमेन्शन नाही. बऱ्याच जणांना वाटतं की त्याच्या डायमेन्शन आहे. इट इज नॉट द डायमेन्शन. That's why we cannot give dimension to the point. We can locate. Location different आणि dimensioning different. किंवा आपण लोकेट करू शकतो किंवा आपण पोझिशन स्पेसिफाय करू शकतो. Where is the point? That's why point is called as a zero dimensional entity. We cannot give dimension to the point. That's why. Now line. आता मला सांगा लाईनला. What we have to call it as line? आपण लाईनला डायमेन्शन देऊ शकतो का? आपण डायमेन्शन देऊ शकतो लाईनला?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
we
sir.
can.
Yes, sir.
कुठले डायमेन्शन देतो? एखादी लाईन ए बी असेल तर तुम्ही मॅक्सिमम काय म्हणू शकता लाईनला?
One
Line AB.
dimension.
One dimension.
One dimensional. Only you can give one dimension. No, that is length. ती डायमेन्शन कुठली? फक्त लेंथच देऊ शकता. दुसरी डायमेन्शन देऊ शकताल का तुम्ही लाईन साठी? Whatever it may be, suppose
No, sir.
this pen,
No, sir.
something like that. That's why line is called as one dimensional entity. Plane. What is plane?
Two
आपल्याला
dimension.
एक chapter आहे next. 2-dimensional. So which third or which 2 dimensions or which third dimension is missing? इन प्लेन. तर 3 डायमेन्शन कुठले हो? LBH. या 3 डायमेन्शन असतात, तुम्हाला माहिती आहे? एखाद्या ऑब्जेक्टला कुठल्याही 3D ऑब्जेक्ट सॉलिड.
Length, breadth and height.
Yes, sir.
Height is missing.
Very good. Length, breadth. Then which dimension is missing?
Height.
Height.
सगळ्यांना घेऊन जावं किंवा ढवळे सरांना घेऊन जावं. ठीक सेमिनार हॉलला थांबा, चालू होतं. Hello. Which third dimension is missing?
Height.
In case of plate?
Height.
Height. So, height is missing, or it is not negligible. Height is negligible. Okay, so definition of plane is what? As compared to 2 dimension, third dimension is missing. Third dimension. तुम्ही जर एखादं पेज घेतलं, पेज, any page, it will take any page, something like this. Any page. I have taken piece of paper. I have taken just a piece of paper. As compared to its 2 dimension, its third dimension is negligible. Third thickness जी आहे ती फार थोडी आहे, negligible. Almost it is negligible as compared to its 2 dimension. That's why it is called as 2-dimensional entity. याला third dimension आहे पण इतकी लहान आहे की ते आपण neglect करतो. That's why it is called as 2D, 2-dimensional plane, or we can say 2-dimensional entity. It is known as plane. And third one is, in third
Three
case,
dimension.
solids are
3-dimensional.
3-dimensional entity.
3-dimensional.
Solids are 3-dimensional entity, whichever it may be you can take. It is having 3 dimensions called as LBH. It is called as LBH, something like this. It is called as LBH. आपण हे का बघायला लागलोय की कोप्लॅनर आपल्याला बघायचं. What does it mean by कोप्लॅनर? कोप्लॅनर फोर्सेसचा अभ्यास आहे आपल्याकडे. कोप्लॅनर means what? You have to consider one page. एखादं पेज कन्सिडर करायचं आहे. कोप्लॅनर means what? एकाच प्लेन मध्ये. को means within one. कोप्लॅनर इफ लाईन ऑफ ऍक्शन. आता लाईन ऑफ ऍक्शन हा शब्द माहिती आहे तुम्हाला? म्हणजे ज्या काय त्याच्या डायरेक्शन आहेत फोर्सच्या, वॉट एव्हर मे बी द डायरेक्शन ऑफ फोर्सेस, इट इज लाईज इन वन प्लेन. म्हणजे फॉर एक्झाम्पल, इफ ॲट ऑल यू विल टेक लाईन्स ड्रॉन, डिफरंट लाईन्स ड्रॉन ऑन अ पेज, तिथं फोर्सेस असतील, त्याच्या लाईन ऑफ ऍक्शन काय होतील? अलॉंग द प्लेन जातील. नाऊ हॅव यू हर्ड द वर्ड प्लेन? प्लेन म्हणजे काय लक्षात आलं? प्लेन हे समजलं तर कोप्लॅनर समजेल.
Yes, sir.
मीन्स त्याच्या ज्या काही लाईन ऑफ फोर्सेस किंवा आपण डायरेक्शन म्हणू, फोर्सच्या डायरेक्शन असतात त्या एकाच प्लेन मध्ये जातात. दॅट्स वाय इट इज कॉल्ड एज कोप्लॅनर फोर्सेस. अँड इन अवर सिलेबस इज रिस्ट्रिक्टेड टू कोप्लॅनर फोर्सेस. ओके, अवर सिलेबस इज रिस्ट्रिक्टेड टू कोप्लॅनर फोर्सेस. इफ ॲट ऑल, हा शब्द बरोबर ऑलवेज इट विल रिपीट दिस वर्ड कोप्लॅनर, because if at all it is going to make some different forces, then it is very difficult. So you remember this. So what I have told, actually it is a geometrical part. It is not part of mechanics. Point, line, plane, solid. It is just for information. We were interested in plane. आपल्याला plane म्हणजे काय बघायचं. We were not interested in what is point, what is line, but we were interested in plane. So I have told point is 0-dimensional entity, line is 1-dimensional entity, plane is 2-dimensional entity, solid is 3-dimensional entity. You remember this. So plane is a 2-dimensional entity where third dimension is negligible. Okay. So coplanar, have you heard this? Have you understood this? Have you understood this? Point, line, plane, solid, and coplanar. Now we have to see what is coplanar. Shall I erase this, whatever it is there on the screen? Just for your information, I have written something. Shall I erase this line, plane? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Shall I erase what we have? I have written on the screen. So I will. Coplanar. So force we have seen. It is the agency which changes the state of body. It is called as force. Now coplanar. Coplanar forces means what? Coplanar forces means what? The force or the system of forces whose line of action lies in single plane. Whose forces or whose line of action lies in single plane. म्हणजे असे फोर्सेस कुठले? मग आता क्वेश्चन येऊ शकतो बरं का माइंड मध्ये. तुम्ही जर कुठलंही एखादं पेज घेतला तर पेजच्या ऐवजी एक नोटबुक घेतो हातामध्ये. ओके, वन नोटबुक इन माय हँड अँड व्हॉट एव्हर लाईन्स ही विल ड्रॉ ऑन दिस, हे सगळे कसले फोर्सेस असतील? व्हॉट एव्हर मे विल द लाईन्स ही विल
Coplanar.
ड्रॉ इन व्हॉट एव्हर इट ऑल
Coplanar
विल बी
forces.
कोप्लॅनर. लक्षात ठेवा, कोप्लॅनर हे फार महत्वाचं आहे. टू अंडरस्टँड द कन्सेप्ट ऑफ कोप्लॅनर, तुम्ही एक नोटबुक घ्या, और यू कॅन टेक अ पेज ऑफ युअर नोटबुक. एखादं पेज घेतलं तर ते रेक्टँग्युलर पेज, रेक्टँग्युलर प्लेन झालं ते, समथिंग लाईक दिस. If at all you will draw all the lines on that page, whatever it may be, intersecting, whatever, we will see the types of that forces also. That forces are coplanar. It is called as coplanar. का त्याला coplanar म्हणायचो? कोण सांगेल? Why we have to call it as a coplanar? Because
They lies
line
in
of action of,
These lines are
okay, that lies in single plane, that is also correct, and their line of
same
action,
plane.
line of actions are also lies in single plane, that is also okay. दोन्ही पण बरोबर आहे, दोन्ही पण बरोबर आहे. ओके, म्हणजे ते सगळेच फोर्सेस एकाच प्लेन मध्ये आहेत म्हणून त्याला कोप्लॅनर म्हणायचं, किंवा त्यांच्या लाईन ऑफ ऍक्शन एकाच प्लेन मध्ये आहेत म्हणून त्याला कोप्लॅनर म्हणायचं. बोथ आर करेक्ट. दिस इज मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टंट कन्सेप्ट व्हॉट आय हॅव टोल्ड. ओके, व्हॉट इज कोप्लॅनर फोर्सेस. देन it was for our information what I have written. Further, resultant, it is a force which replaces the number of forces, which replaces number of forces having the same effect as that of original force. आता resultant म्हणजे काय? Resultant म्हणजे काय? If there are number of forces acting on a body, there are number of resultant acting on a body. मी मगाच एक्झाम्पल घेतो बघा. रिझल्टंट कुणाला म्हणायचं? की नंबर ऑफ फोर्सेस. आपण काय केलं होतं? बॉडी ए एक कन्सिडर केली होती, इकडून किती फोर्स लावला होता मी? हाऊ मच फोर्स आय हॅव अप्लाइड बिफोर सम
5
टाइम?
Newton.
एक
5
बॉडी
kilonewton.
5 किलोन्यूटन. Okay, and from this side, how much force I have applied from this
10.
side?
10 kilonewton.
10 kilonewton. Now, how many forces are acting on this body? किती
Two.
force act झाले?
Two.
Forces are acting on body. Now, आपल्याला रिझल्टंट म्हणजे काय करायचं? मला ह्या दोन्ही फोर्सचा एकच फोर्स मध्ये कन्वर्ट करायचा, और आय वॉन्ट टू रिप्लेस दिस टू फोर्सेस बाय अ सिंगल फोर्स विच इज कॉल्ड एज रिझल्टंट. मग याचं कसं करता येईल? ओव्हरऑल इफेक्ट काय असेल फोर्सचा? व्हेरी सिम्पल एक्झाम्पल आय हॅव टेकन, सो यू कॅन जस्ट सी व्हॉट विल बी द ओव्हरऑल इफेक्ट ऑफ दिस फोर्सेस. मग अशी मी
5
विचारलं होतं की बॉडी
kilonewton
कोणीकडे
towards
जाईल?
right.
व्हेरी गुड. 5 kilonewton towards
Right.
right means here that body will be there as it is, body A. इकडे बॉडी A. ओके, मी आता इकडचा फोर्स इकडे दाखवतो किंवा इकडे दाखवतो, इट डझंट मॅटर वेअर आय एम शोईंग. Okay, so here there will be R. Here there will be R equal to 5 kilonewton. R will be 5 kilonewton. So it is called as resultant. आपण resultant करला. Either you can show to this side or this side. It doesn't matter. आपण बघणार आहोत law of transmissibility of force. If at all you are going to show towards right or towards left, it doesn't matter. तुम्ही असं एखाद्याला वाटलं असेल ना, इथं या केस मध्ये सर हा फोर्स इकडे दाखवायला पाहिजे होता, हा ही जी काय बॉडी आहे ए, त्याचा ओव्हरऑल इफेक्ट जर मायनस केलं तर इकडून यायला पाहिजे. इज देअर एनी चेंज? असं तुम्हाला वाटतं की ह्याच्यात काय बदल असेल? 5 किलोमीटर वेदर देर इज चेंज इन दिस? दोन्ही सेमच आहे का डिफरंट आहे असं तुम्हाला वाटतंय? व्हॉट डू यू फील?
Same.
सेमच आहे.
Same. Same.
It is same. It is same. You should not feel it as a different. It is called resultant. Means what? Actually, what we want to learn in this, resultant means what? Two forces are acting, two or more again. If number of forces are acting on a body, and that number of forces or system of forces is replaced by a single force, what is the name of that force? What is the name of that force?
Resultant.
We are calling it as a resultant. So few terminology we have seen here. Which are they? कुठल्या कुठल्या टर्म बघितल्यात आपण आता. फोर्स म्हणजे काय बघितलं. फोर्स ही अशी गोष्ट आहे, मराठीत सांगतो सगळ्यांसाठी आता. फोर्स ही अशी गोष्ट आहे की जी बॉडीची स्टेट चेंज करते. जर स्टेशनरी असेल तर मोशन मध्ये असेल तर स्टेशनरी. ओके, ऑर रेस्ट म्हणून आपण त्याला. कोप्लॅनर मीन्स व्हॉट? लाईन ऑफ ऍक्शन ऑफ ऑल द फोर्सेस लाईज इन सिंगल प्लेन. Plane means we have once plane word will come into picture, or it will come into in front of you. Remember a page of notebook. So I have one small page of notebook in front of me. So that page is nothing but plane. Okay, if line of action of forces lying in one single plane, it is called as coplanar forces. And what is the resultant? The number of forces हे एकाच फोर्सनं जर रिप्लेस केले तर त्याला म्हणायचं रिझल्टंट. ओके, सो एक्झाम्पल आय हॅव रिटन. सिम्पल एक्झाम्पल. On body A, two forces are acting, 5 kilonewton from the right hand side, and from the left hand side there is a force of 10 kilonewton. So these two forces we can replace by single force. It is called as 5 kilonewton force. It is known as resultant. Any problem? Let me know your understanding. Shivkumar Bhosle, what is mean by resultant, or what do you understand by resultant? Resultant काय resultant म्हणजे काय? शिवकुमार भोसले. Am I audible? Shivkumar. Roll number 11, Sakshi Kadam Patil.
Yes, sir.
What do you understand by resultant?
Resultant force which replace a number of forces having the same effect as that the original forces.
Very good. Same force, the force which replaces the number of forces. Siddhalinga. What is force? Very simple question for Siddhalinga. Roll number 14. 14. 14.
Mass
Siddhalinga.
into acceleration.
No, definition. You don't tell formula. Definition of force. Very simple. Rohini Shinde, 50 roll number.
Yes, sir.
Force definition.
Force is
To
an
whom we should
external
call
agent
for?
which change the state of body.
Which change the state of body. Very good. Thank you. Next one. Let me ask Riddhi Phule, 46.
Yes, sir.
Coplanar. What do you understand by coplanar forces?
Line of
The
action lies in a single plane.
Very good. Line of action of forces lies in single plane, or any other definition? All forces itself lie in single plane. All forces are itself lying in single plane. That also called as coplanar forces. Very good. Very good. Thank you. Those who are giving responses, thank you very much. Those who are not giving responses, I am noting their names. These names will be forwarded to your CC. Okay. So response is important. Whether you are knowing the answer, not knowing the answer, it doesn't matter. Response is important. Whenever I am going to ask something, immediately either say yes, no, don't know, not understanding, whatever. Okay, this lecture should not be one-way communication. You might be knowing one-way communication, one-to-many communication, many-to-one communication. This you will learn this, so that you might be knowing. So our communication may be responsive. You should give response. No, I will not go in types of communication. Okay, shall we go next? Slowly we are going.
Yes, sir.
Shall we go next? Have you noted down this? So only 3 terms we have seen on this screen.
Yes.
आपण 3च टर्म याच्यावर पाहिलेले आहेत. कुठल्या आहेत त्या टर्म? Which 3 terms we have seen on this screen? कुठल्या? एक आहे फोर्स म्हणजे काय सगळ्यांना माहित असते. त्याच्यानंतर कोप्लॅनर फोर्स म्हणजे काय, that term also we have seen,
Result.
and last one is the resultant. Resultant means what, that also we have seen. So once we will come to next, then we have to understand what does it mean. Okay, की हे काय आहे हे नंतर तुम्हाला कळायला पाहिजे. Okay, that's why I'm going very slowly. Further, in this chapter, the basic terminology related to engineering mechanics are explained. Okay, different laws to find the resultant of forces are also explained. The resultant of force and the moment. So, what is there? The resultant of force and the moment of coplanar concurrent and coplanar non-concurrent forces is also discussed. So, it is not important. Central idea. What does central idea of means what? What is discussed in this chapter that is there? की आपण या चॅप्टर मध्ये काय शिकणार आहोत ते सांगितलेलं आहे. देर इज नो नथिंग एनी important term to note down this. Okay, concurrent and non-concurrent forces, that also we will see. Coplanar concurrent forces, importance of chapter. Just images are there in further syllabus, it is going to come in further images, it is going to come. Okay, non-concurrent and concurrent. Okay, concurrent, have you heard this word concurrent? बघूया आपण आता थोडस. आपण कोप्लॅनर पाहिलं. Coplanar, there is no question. If all the forces lying in single plane, it is called as coplanar. Again, further, there are two types of coplanar forces. Coplanar forces. आता concurrent हा शब्द ऐकलाय का? Concurrent and non-concurrent. As far as geometry is concerned, these two words are there. Na? Concurrent, non-concurrent.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
सांगा concurrent म्हणजे काय?
Yes,
मग concurrent म्हणजे काय? फक्त ऐकले तेच का? खरंच माहिती आहे कॉन्करंट म्हणजे काय? रिअली युअर नोइंग व्हॉट डज इट मीन बाय कॉन्करंट?
Equal.
Equal? No, concurrent means it doesn't mean equal.
All
Concurrent means
lines
what?
meet at one point.
All
All lines are meet at one point.
all lines will that definition is related to lines. Whatever definition you are telling, it is related to lines. Very good.
Okay,
सगळ्या, but it is whatever you have told, it is correct. Technically it is correct, but you have told related to line, but related to forces. You can see here what is the title: concurrent and non-concurrent forces. Forces are related means what? If at all these forces, first thing, concurrent and non-concurrent forces are the type of which type of forces? हे कशाचे दोन टाइप आहेत मी सांगितलं? Concurrent आणि non-concurrent.
Coplanar forces.
Coplanar forces.
Planar.
Coplanar forces. Very good. It is the type of coplanar forces. म्हणजे यांची लाईन ऑफ ऍक्शन किंवा हे फोर्सेस एका प्लेन वरती आहेत. पुढची कंडिशन, इफ at all these number of forces will pass through single point, if at all these all forces will pass through single point, then it is called as concurrent forces. Then it is called as concurrent forces. Okay, and if the line of action, if at all we are going to extend, याची एक्सटेंड केली, याची इकडून अशी एक्सटेंड केली, या फोर्सची इकडे अशी एक्सटेंड केली, किंवा पाठीमागे आपण एक्सटेंड करू शकतो अशी. तर याचा असं वाटतंय का तुम्हाला की फोर्सेस एक्सटेंड केलं ही सगळे फोर्सेस एकाच पॉइंट मधून जातात? But do you
No.
feel?
No,
No.
sir.
No,
sir.
it is not. If at all I am going to extend, these forces also can be extended on both sides. ही फोर्सेसची कॅरेक्टरिस्टिक आहे, लक्षात ठेवा. आपण दोन्ही साइडला एक्सटेंड करू शकतो. Because that effect of force will remain same. आपण दोन्हीकडे एक्सटेंड करू शकतो. In this side also, in this side also, both. So if at all, definition बघा. If at all line of action of force will pass through single point, line of action of force will pass through single point, then it is called as concurrent forces. Okay, concurrent forces. And if line of action of forces will not pass through single point, then it is called as non-concurrent forces. Have you understood? इथं बघा तुम्ही, तुम्हाला बरेच वाटेल की इथं वाटेल की एका पॉइंट मधून जातात, पण हा एक फोर्स आहे बघा, एकीकडेच राहिला हा. दिस वन also this one is remaining little aside. That's why sometimes in your exam like this question is also asked sometimes, म्हणजे इकडून एक फोर्स येतो असा, मे बी फ्रॉम दिस साइड एखादा फोर्स येतो असा, आणि maybe something like this. One force is, and once you are going to extend, you may feel it is something like this as you meet water. Means if you see first, you will say it is not meeting each other. की तुम्हाला सुरुवातीला असं वाटतं की लाईन ऑफ ऍक्शन, these three forces I will give name as a F1, F2, F3. Looking to these forces, you feel that these are not touching to each other, their line of actions are not passing through single point. असं पाहिल्यानंतर वाटतं, but once you are going to extend these line of forces of these all the forces, it may pass. It pass होत नाही, it may pass sometimes. Then you can say it as a, कुठली म्हणायची, जर पास होत असतील तर कुठली म्हणणार तुम्ही? If it is going to pass,
Concurrent.
Concurrent forces.
Concurrent forces.
then you are going to say it as a concurrent forces. Then you are going to say it as a concurrent forces. मग काय कळलं तुम्हाला concurrent आणि non concurrent forces मधून? Concurrent forces means what?
Line
All
of
forces of
a single point
The force
equal the
which meet at
concurrent
one point.
The line of action of forces will meet at one point.
1 point.
Line of action of force will meet at one point. जर एका पॉइंटला सगळे फोर्स आले तर काय म्हणणार तुम्ही?
Concurrent forces.
Concurrent forces.
Forces.
Concurrent forces. And if line of action of force will not meet, जर मीट होत नसेल तर काय म्हणणार?
Non-concurrent forces.
Non-concurrent forces.
Forces.
You will say it as a non-concurrent forces. Okay. And coplanar already we have seen. Further, so it is very simple. It is there on the screen. Okay. Further, coplanar concurrent forces. Just imagine image is shown here. There is nothing in this. Importance of chapter. This chapter gives the idea about. This chapter gives idea about the system of forces, couple moment. Its importance. Why this chapter we should study? The composition of forces and the resolution of forces, which is essential for the next chapter. So here one more term is coming. One more term coming called as resolution. Okay. Due to understanding of this chapter, a student can thoroughly understand the concept of statics. So actually this chapter is the base of statics. This chapter is the base of statics. So resolution, this one word is also important, resolution. Okay, so this resolution is exactly opposite word of resultant. Exactly opposite of resultant. So what we have seen, what does it mean by resultant? Resultant म्हणजे काय म्हणलो होतो आपण? Resultant, what we have seen exactly as a resultant. Resultant
Force which balance number of
Force which
force which
replace the number of
the force which will replace the number of forces. It is called as resultant. मग resolution ची definition काय करता येईल सांगा? Resolution जर number of forces एकत्र केले आणि ते एकाच force ने replace केले, then we are calling it as a resultant. Then we are calling it as a resultant. Okay. Then what we have to call it as a resolution? Resolution कशाला म्हणणार? सांगता येईल का? सांगा बरं. मी सांगितलं तुम्हाला, one hint I have given. Resolution and resultant exactly opposite to each other. बरोबर opposite आहे एकमेकांना. Then now you tell me, is it possible for you to tell?
replacing a force.
The number of forces replaced by one force is called the resolution of force.
Number of forces.
Replaced by one force.
Number of forces replaced. Replaced म्हणायचं आहे का तुम्हाला? Number of forces replaced by one force. If it is your definition, then it is resultant. त्याला resultant म्हणलोय आपण ऑलरेडी. Number of forces जर एका फोर्सला रिप्लेस केले तर resultant. हा.
Number of forces replaced by other force.
Number of forces.
One force is replaced by into number of
forces.
One force is replaced by number of forces.
Number of forces.
Okay. Very good. Exactly opposite मी सांगितलं तो हिंट दिली तुम्हाला. Resultant आणि resolution हे exactly opposite आहे. Resolution means what? Splitting the force into its component. सगळ्यात सोपी definition. That we will see also. But meanwhile, splitting a force. Split means what? Split. Split. S-P-L-I-T. But what does it mean by split? Split म्हणजे काय? Divide. Is it the meaning of divide? Split म्हणजे divide करणे.
Yes.
As simple as this, no? Or dividing म्हणा किंवा split म्हणा. Splitting a force into its component. It is called as resolution. Splitting the force into its component is called as resolution. It is as simple as this. एक जर फोर्स असेल कुठला तर त्याला काय करायचं त्याच्या कंपोनेंट मध्ये डिवाइड करायचं. That we will see how it is there in further syllabus. But meanwhile, you remember resultant is nothing but replacing a number of forces or system of force. Number of forces or system of force by single force. It is called as resultant. It is called as resultant. And what is meant by resolution? Splitting a force into its component is called as resolution. That we will see how to resolve a force. मी जर आता इथून पुढे हा शब्द वापरला, please resolve this force. You should not say what is the resolve. Actually, this word is resolve, and that process is resolution. त्या प्रोसेसला resolution म्हणलेलं आहे. Resolve म्हणजे स्प्लिट करा, डिवाइड करा फोर्स. That we will see. आपल्याला जेवढे ऍक्च्युअल प्रॉब्लेम चालू होणार आहे त्यावेळी मी I will say always, please resolve this particular force. मी म्हणणार त्यावेळी हा फोर्स रिझॉल्व्ह करा, हा फोर्स रिझॉल्व्ह करा, त्या फोर्स सिस्टीमचा रिझल्टंट फाइंड आउट करा, समथिंग लाईक दिस. In that case, you will going to understand what does it mean exactly. So meanwhile, at this instant, at this moment, you should remember what is meant by resultant and what is meant by resolution. Okay. Further. What is this? Importance just now we have seen, no? Then chapter outcome means at the end of this chapter what we should learn. म्हणजे हा चॅप्टर ज्यावेळी शिकवून होईल त्यावेळी की आपला आउटकम काय पाहिजे, what is our outcome or what we should study from this chapter is mentioned केले, nothing else. Student will understand fundamental concept of statics. Means here we are going to study fundamental concepts of statics. Fundamental concepts of statics. Student will able to apply different laws related to composition of forces. That laws also we are going to study. Polygon law of forces, triangle law of forces, then parallelogram of law of forces. That also we are seeing. So that laws also you should able to apply. Then student will understand the concept of finding resultant. Name of what is the name of our chapter? What is the name of our chapter?
Resultant of coplanar forces.
Coplanar forces.
Resultant of coplanar forces. Resultant of coplanar forces. म्हणजे हे नाव जरी पुढे आलं आपल्या, if you will see the name of this chapter, so coplanar. So now at least from today you should remember coplanar. What does it mean by coplanar? What does it mean by resultant? What does it mean by resolution, etc. So aim of this chapter is to find the resultant of coplanar forces. Aim of this chapter is to find. Very interesting. I am sure you will take a lot of interest in further. Okay, this is just an introduction. Further things are very interesting, and okay, so that we should learn. So just that it is mentioned as a part of syllabus. What we should learn at the end of this chapter. Okay, concept of static. Now I will not ask again and again what is statics, dynamics, kinematics, kinetics. Already a lot of discussion we have gone for. Then you should be able to apply laws of forces. That also we will see. Then first, last and most important thing is finding the resultant of coplanar forces. Here we are supposed to find resultant. Then engineering mechanics once again. So what the way we have studied, same thing. Actual syllabus now we will start. Means आपल्याला chapter मध्ये शिकायचं काय होतं, at the end what we should learn, it was discussed. Few terms also we have discussed. Okay, so what we have to learn in this just a revision type. Now actual syllabus will start with the definition of mechanics. आपण हे पाहिलेच आहे definition. Have you written in your notebook definition of mechanics?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
As it is a branch of physical science or physics which deals with the study of forces and their effect acting on a body. That body may be in motion or rest. Okay, already you have written that body, it may be in rest or it may be in motion. So force, unless and until there is force, we are there. म्हणजे फोर्स आहे म्हणजे हा सब्जेक्ट आहे, फोर्स नसला का हा सब्जेक्ट नाही. यू रिमेंबर दिस. विदाउट फोर्स इट विल नॉट बी देअर. सो दॅट इज इम्पॉर्टंट. मेकॅनिक्स इज द ब्रँच ऑफ फिजिकल सायन्स विच डील्स विथ द फोर्सेस. देन आपण कुठले दोन टाइप बघितले मेकॅनिक्सचे?
Statics and dynamics.
Statics and dynamics.
स्टॅटिक्स मध्ये काय असतं सांगा बरं? It is a branch of engineering mechanics which deals with the study of forces and their effect. But what is important? How is the body? Is it at the rest or is it in the motion?
Body
At the rest.
The rest.
At rest.
Body is at rest. Body is at rest. Then we are calling it as a statics. We are calling it as a statics. Okay. What is another branch? One is statics. Another branch we have seen?
Dynamics.
Dynamics.
Body
What is dynamics?
body which is the motion.
body is in the motion.
Body is in the motion. मग आपण अभ्यास कशाचा करणार आहे? मोशनचा करणार आहे, बॉडीचा करणार आहे का फोर्सचा आणि त्याच्या इफेक्टचा
Study of
करणार आहे?
forces and their effects acting on the body which is in a motion.
Very good. Dynamics is the branch of mechanics which deals with the study of forces and their effect acting on body which is in motion. Just now we have discussed. Further, there are two branches of dynamics. Which are they?
Kinetics
and
Kinematics.
Kinematics.
Kinetics and kinematics. Kinetics. What is kinetics? कशाची branch
Study
आहे?
of-
It is the branch of
Kinetics is
dynamics.
Study of a
Very good.
force
It is a
and
branch
their
of
effect acting
dynamics.
on a body in a motion by considering the mass of a body and forces which cause the motion.
Very good. Here we are going to consider mass of the body and the forces. And what is kinematics?
The branch of
Study of
dynamics.
forces and their effect acting on a body which is in the motion without considering mass of the body and forces.
Very good. Here we are not going to consider mass of the body, also the forces which cause the motion. That also we have seen. This is just revision what we have seen. Okay. That classification means in chart it is shown how it is classified. Okay. So this also you can remember. So mechanics, what the subject we are going to study. So you can see here how the subject mechanics classification is shown in something like chart. Mechanics of rigid bodies, mechanics of deformable bodies, mechanics of fluid. So these further branches, these two branches are there in your further classes. So these two branches, specially for, I will tell you, specially for mech and civil. त्या पुढच्या ज्या दोन ब्रँचेस आहेत ते फर्दर क्लासेस मध्ये आहेत तुमच्या. जर तुम्ही या दोन ब्रँच मध्ये नसताल तर ओनली यू आर गोइंग टू लर्न फ्रॉम दिस टू दिस, देन दिस टू, फ्रॉम दिस टू दिस टू. एवढं म्हणजे तुम्ही फर्स्ट इयर मध्ये आहात. इट इज ॲज सिम्पल ॲज दिस. ओके. बेसिक कॅल्क्युलेशन इट इज देअर, इट इज इन फर्दर. Other branches are there in further. But here in our subject we are going to see mechanics of rigid body. आपण rigid body म्हणजे पाहिलं होतं. काय म्हणलं होतं rigid body म्हणजे? आठवतंय कोणाला? rigid body ची मी definition?
Do not change its size and shape when apply the external force.
आणि अशी असते का बॉडी प्रॅक्टिकल मध्ये? वेदर
It
सच
is
बॉडी इज
ideal
अवेलेबल
body.
इन प्रॅक्टिकल? इट इज आयडियल बॉडी. की असं होऊ शकत नाही की एखाद्या बॉडीला फोर्स लावला आणि ते डिफॉर्म होत नाही. डिफॉर्म मीन्स चेंज ऑफ शेप. इट विल नॉट हॅपन. इट इज आयडियल बॉडी. वी कॅन से इट इज आयडियल बॉडी. अजून बॉडीचे टाईप कुठले आहेत माहित आहेत? लेट अस हॅव अ डिस्कशन बिकॉज इट मे बी अ सेकंड लेक्चर. हा, अजून जशी एक रिजिड बॉडी आहे, अजून 2 टाईप आहेत. कुठले कुठले आहेत माहित आहेत? इलॅस्टिक आणि प्लास्टिक. हे पण बॉडीचे टाईप आहेत. हॅव यू हर्ड दिस समवेअर?
Yes, sir.
इलॅस्टिक अँड प्लास्टिक.
Elastic.
Yes, sir.
इलॅस्टिक ऐकलंय का? प्लास्टिक नाही ऐकलं. प्लास्टिक बॉडी. ओके, इलॅस्टिक म्हणजे काय सांगा बरं बघू. इलॅस्टिक बॉडी
Shape changes.
शेप चेंजेस म्हणजे
Flexible.
whether it makes
It
once
the shape when apply the force and regain its shape after removing the force.
very good, 100% correct.
Example,
Once you are
rubber.
going to apply the force, once you are going to apply the force on the body will get deformed. But once you are going to remove the force, body will regain म्हणजे परत घेणे its original shape असं म्हणूया आपण, or its shape. It is elastic body. Example, 100% correct because you has
Rubber.
given definition. Elastic. Very good. Rubber is one of the example. Rubber.
Spring.
कुठलं? Rubber.
Spring.
Spring. Also we can spring. Also we can say okay spring. What is plastic body? Have you heard plastic body? Plastic body opposite to this. मी तर तुम्हाला थोडक्यात एक क्लू देतो इथे की इलेस्टिक आणि प्लास्टिक बॉडी अपोजिट असतात. इलेस्टिक मध्ये काय सांगितलं मी? फोर्स अप्लाय केला. वन्स यू आर गोइंग टू अप्लाय द फोर्स, बॉडी डिफॉर्म होते आणि नंतर काय होतंय? ओरिजिनल शेप घेते परत. इलेस्टिक. पण प्लास्टिक मध्ये अपोजिट आहे. देन व्हॉट विल बी द डेफिनेशन ऑफ प्लास्टिक?
Your body will get deformed, but
Very good.
not reform.
Okay, very good. Any other? Exactly correct. Any other? Can we repeat? Any other? दुसरं कोण सांगू शकेल का? प्लास्टिक म्हणजे काय? प्लास्टिक बॉडी.
Body get permanently deformed.
Body gets permanently deformed. In other words, very good. Body gets permanently deformed. That is also example. Means once we are going to apply the force, body will deform. Body will deform, and once afterwards, once at all we will remove the force, body will not regain its shape. Body will not regain its shape. Example सांगता येईल का हो एखादं example? Is it possible
Mud.
for you to tell example? Huh?
Mud.
Iron rod.
Very good. Mud. चिखल. Best example of plastic body.
Fluid.
चिखल म्हणजे तुम्ही चिखल मध्ये fluid. You want to say fluid? It may be having some condition fluid, but mud is the best example. चिखल. तुम्ही चिखल मध्ये जर if at all you will apply force to the mud, it will get deformed. चिखल असा डिफॉर्म होतो, पण परत जर तुम्ही हात वगैरे बाजूला काढला, it will not get its shape and size. So it is that example we can say. It is that example. Mud is one of the best example. So it is a part only. Okay, so this also you remember. Along with rigid body, which are the other types of the body? One is elastic, another one is plastic, and another one is rigid. Okay, so this one is also important. So this also you have to remember. Okay, so all the things you have to write in your notebook. So it may come in your further syllabus. Okay, so remaining part we will study in next lecture. Okay, so up to this you remember, up to classification we were came. Anybody can tell any problem? Forum is open to ask question. कुणाला काय विचारायचं आहे? बिफोर टेकिंग अटेंडन्स घ्यायच्या अगोदर एनी प्रॉब्लेम? English is fast, English is slow, English is not understanding. Don't use English, don't use Marathi. Any suggestion? का चाललेलं आहे? Is it okay? All is well? Something
Yes,
you have to
sir.
tell. Any suggestion? काय इम्प्रुव्हमेंट साठी? बिकॉज इट इज अवर जस्ट अ फर्स्ट लेक्चर. हे फक्त पहिलं लेक्चर आहे आपलं. As far as core syllabus is concerned, yesterday we have just discussed some syllabus, subjects, etc. फास्ट. कुणाला काय विचारायचं आहे का? पांडुरंग, रोल नंबर 36. रोल नंबर 36.
No, sir.
तुमची नोटबुक दाखवू शकता का तुम्ही? विल यू शो युअर नोटबुक बाय मेकिंग व्हिडिओ ऑन? आहे का नोटबुक तुमच्या जवळ? I should not say. Is it there? It should be there. I think you will understand meaning of should. आहे का? साक्षी, रोल नंबर 6. With the notebook is with you.
सर मी स्क्रीनशॉट घेतले नंतर लिहिणार आहे.
Whether you have made notebook for our subject. ज्यांनी स्क्रीनशॉट घेतले त्यांना विचारू का? आहे का नोटबुक? राहुल,
Yes, sir.
ओंकार, नोटबुक आहेत आपल्या सब्जेक्टला?
Yes, sir.
हो, sir.
टुमॉरो आय एम गोइंग टू सी नोटबुक. ज्यांच्याकडे नोटबुक नसेल त्यांना मीटिंग मधून बाहेर केलं जाईल. ओके. Notebook should be there. Calculator. Maybe after 2 to 3 lectures. Calculator should be there in your. Any other suggestion? If not, I will. कुणाला काय बोलायचं आहे का? काय सांगायचं आहे का? सजेशन काय चाललंय ते चांगलं चाललंय असं वाटतंय? What do you feel?
All okay, sir.
All is okay. All is well. Prathamesh Patil, you want to say something? 56 roll number. Fast, slow, something you have to tell, because otherwise with this I am going to proceed further. आता जे चाललेलं आहे त्यानुसार मी पुढे जाणार आहे in that way. जर काय सजेशन असेल you can tell freely. Reduce the speed, increase the speed, and whatever it may be. तुमची सजेशन कन्सिडर केली जाईल. If not, write your roll numbers in chat box so that I will note down your number. Write your roll numbers in chat box. I will note down that. Any suggestion? Any problem? हो पण म्हणत नाहीत पण म्हणत नाहीत. What I have to understand from this? काय मग समजायचं?
No problem, sir. All okay.
Okay, thank you. Write down your roll numbers. We will stop for today. Thank you very much. First, write down your roll numbers in chat box.
Thank you, sir.
And you can leave now. Once you will give attendance, you can leave. No issue.